Let's watch the press conference. Sound should be good.
Hello everyone, welcome at the press conference of the round 12. Today the game was won by Ding Liren, and
actually let me put a board up.
Tied 6-6.
Let me put a board up first so that in case they talk about chess, you guys, I can actually tell you guys what they're talking about. Let's watch the press conference. Let's see what they have to say. Jan, by the way, not happy here. Jan is not happy at all.
First question goes to Ding. Around move 28 to 30 moves both sides. You started to blitz out the moves, and there were a lot of inaccuracies. And there is a quote from Fabiano Caruana who said, "There is no longer about chess, it's pure nerves. Every move is a mistake now." Would you agree to this statement?
Well, I agree with the first part of his words. It's not about chess, since I know the quality is very low, but actually I'm not so nervous at the point. I just thought.
By the way, like I mean, it doesn't matter what they're saying specifically, like whether they're saying nervous or not. They get Bornik for the Raid 11. Like, it's not about the specifics of it, but the moves they played were not high quality. They were not high quality. So whether you want to call it nerves, like, it might not be that you're thinking about the game and nervous directly, but there are nerves because they're making these moves quickly. Like, they can't control themselves. Now, obviously, I'm in no position to really criticize them in general, but saying that it's not, that there are no nerves is a little bit far from the truth. Fabiano is actually completely right.
One point, I feel it's total silence in the playing hall, and I didn't feel.
Wait, what did you just say about silence? What, I'm confused.
I just thought. At one point, I feel it's total silence in the playing hall, and I didn't feel.
Wait, isn't it always silent in the playing hall, or am I crazy? Isn't it always silent though, or am I just missing something? I didn't think there was anybody in there. I thought literally they were playing on the stage and the only people watching were outside. You want closed captions? Okay, I can try, I guess, but okay.
Anybody watching the games, it seems the playing field, well, it seems to be the very important game, but I didn't feel it at all.
So basically what Ding is saying here, to be clear, is Ding is basically saying, he's saying that like nobody cared about the game. So because there was nobody watching, he didn't feel any pressure since it was super silent and nobody cares, basically, is what I think he's trying to say.
I have to tell myself that it's quite important. I have to focus on. I didn't feel any kinds of emotional at that point. But the game itself is quite bad. I think my mistake comes earlier as Bishop C2. I should have played Rook G1, I guess.
So he's saying instead of Bishop C2. So he's saying he thinks his mistake was right here. That he thought that Bishop C2 was his mistake. He will be happy to know, though, even after Rook G1, Knight H4, Black is still better in this position. So he will be happy to know that, at least, that it still was bad for him. But anyway, let's keep going.
2 and then Rook F1. Maybe that's an improvement over the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Jan, would you agree to this statement of Fabiano Caruana that it's no longer about chess, but it's about the nerves now?
No, I guess it's still about chess, and not the best thing to do, like to lose supposedly winning position. I guess. After c4, like,
okay, let's stop for 1 second. So first things first, you guys, like, I understand that Nepo is very pissed, and I mean, and like they aren't gonna like talk about the like specifics. I get the point of that, but Fabiano is right. Like, Ding's answer is like hedging the bets a little bit, but it's completely about the nerves, because the frequency with the moves, the way they were moving so fast, like if you're feeling the nerves, you feel this urge to move quickly. Now Yad naturally feels the urge to move quickly, so it's a little bit different perhaps, but like, for example, I can tell you directly from experience, having played some tournaments since the pandemic, like, there are moments when I can't stop myself. Like, I know I need to think and use time, but I just can't stop myself, and I have to make the move, and it's because of nerves, or it's because like nerves, impatience, whatever you want to call it. There is something going on.
Rook c8, provoking c5 would be like very, very clean.
Wait, he said, wait, let me go back. He said rook c8 provoking c5. Let me go back.
Not the best thing to do, like to lose supposedly winning position. I guess after c4, like something like rook c8 provoking c5 would be like very, very clean.
Wow. By the way, speaking of way too much optimism, which I already mentioned before, this is insane. This is insane. So Nepo is basically saying he thinks that after c4, rook to c8, provoking c5, and black is better, but black is actually worse after bishop b8 and queen b3. So actually Nepo's, again, like you can talk about nerves, whatever, but the evaluation of what Nepo is saying is completely wrong. Just spot on, like completely wrong what he's saying. He actually played correctly with d takes c4 and b5. So it does show that some of the objectivity is being lost, which is why when Fabiano says it's about nerves, Fabiano is spot on, because even the calculations are not completely precise at this point.
And then basically white has no counterplay, so it's
except he has queen b3, which is counterplayed better for white.
In my opinion, pretty much over, since cd5 doesn't work. Yeah, but I somehow decided to go for some forcing lines and met the consequences. So, yeah, I think it's pretty much chess. But yeah, at some point, of course, it was a big mess. Yeah, once I found out that, okay, this... I mean, I'm not sure. After bishop e4, so strangely, I didn't see like any ideas for me anymore. Yeah, so perhaps okay, what I did was...
Yeah, so he's basically saying that after bishop e4, he's saying that after bishop to e4, he's saying that he didn't see any ideas. Now, of course, the computer says that f3 and knight g2 is still saving the game. Again, very dank concept, because if you don't understand why it's saving the game, like you think white can just go rook c1, for example, and you miss this knight f4 trick, then you just think, well, yeah, after rook c1, what's going on? Queen h4, there's queen takes f3, gg, why not? And you don't understand what the plan is. So I don't really fault Nepo for missing this f3, knight g2, knight f4 idea, because I think it's very hard to find, and under the circumstances, I don't think it's practical. So that's not too shocking that he didn't see that. It makes perfect sense what he's saying.
Reasonable, but yeah, clearly it was an important moment. So yeah, but happens.
Thank you. Ding, at what moment have you realized that the tables turned on your side?
Well, I didn't understand his choice before, and then didn't follow by knight f3. That gave me...
so Ding saw the winning line. So Ding saw the correct line. Ding saw this line, which is the correct move, is knight to f3 here, forking the rooks on e1 and g1. So Ding actually calculated this correctly at this point. Very interesting to note the difference between the players and sort of the objectivity, because it's very clear. Ding was confused that he didn't play knight f3. Knight f3 is the best move. So Ding was actually keeping a little bit more of the objective viewpoint of what was going on. Let's keep going.
Very easier play, and my queen had developed to a very good square
on c6. So, yep.
But after bishop e4, I realized I was maybe already better at that point.
Right. Have you considered actually to capture the rook on g6 instead of playing queen to b7?
Okay, here comes the classic let's be computer Andes at home and ask Ding a ridiculous question. I'm just gonna say this outright. This is ridiculous. It's like, considering the pressure on the players, what she's asking is, why wasn't Ding stockfish? Why didn't Ding just play bishop takes rook, h takes g6 and d5 and just win the game like a 3500 stockfish? Now I'm gonna say again, nobody would have played this realistically. It's just completely insane. I expect Ding to have a WTF look on his face, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see.
If he takes,
yeah.
So you considered, but you disliked that.
Yeah, I considered a little bit. Yeah, but I think when I saw queen b7, then followed by bishop e4.
So the bottom line is Ding is trying to be polite here, but here's simply what happened. Ding is like bishop g6, he takes, and then what? And then what? Now, of course, as we know, Ding is not stockfish. He's not 3,800 or 3,500 or whatever it is. And so after h takes g6, like any sane human being under a lot of pressure playing a world championship match, he obviously did not see the move d5, which all of us at home saw because we have stockfish. That he's literally like, and then what? He's like, of course, because his English isn't great. It doesn't come off that poorly, but it is literally like, and he takes, and then what? And then what? So yeah, let's keep going.
I thought it's quite good for white.
Right, he thought queen b7 is good for white. Yep.
One last question from me, and then we'll go to press to ask the questions. Jan, you played very sharp moves and got a great advantage on the king side. When the things started to go wrong exactly for you?
As I mentioned already, yeah, probably the whole concept like with capturing on c4 was unnecessary, so like rook c8 and keeping the center closed.
Now this is, again, it's shocking. It's really legitimately shocking that Nepo thought he misplayed this when he actually played this very, very well. He thought that here after c4, rook c8 was the best move, but like I said, after c5, bishop b8, and queen to b3, suddenly white gets some counterplay on the queen side, and there's no obvious attack on the king side. So it's really interesting that Nepo, and his pure raw thoughts after the game, not being able to look at it yet with Stockfish, he actually completely misassesses what was happening, whereas what he did was actually quite brilliant and was the correct variation. So it's kind of interesting, actually. Kind of interesting.
I guess it was pretty much it, but yeah, what to do?
Okay, fair enough. Do we have questions now in the press? Please, Leoncho.
Leoncho Garcia from El País. Today I have the same question for both. Millions of chess amateurs all over the world were following the game with the help of very powerful computers, which were saying that black was winning for a lot of time, and then at a certain moment that white was winning. But both of you are human beings, so I think it will be very interesting if you can explain as best as possible how were your feelings during the critical part of the game. For instance, Ian, did you feel completely winning? Liden, did you feel totally lost?
Okay, before they answer the question, I'm going to tell you what was going on. The answer should be that they didn't know what was going on, and Nepo thought he was better, but there's no way Nepo thought it was like -2 or -3 like it was. Let's see if they say exactly what I just said, because I think they will.
Let's start first, Jan, with you.
Yeah, indeed, it looks like winning. I think the whole like attack on the king side doesn't work here, but yeah, it looked promising. Yeah, but still, you like even if you are winning, you still got to be precise till the end, and clearly I wasn't precise today.
What about you, Ding?
Well, I thought I was better out of the opening, but after he played a series of very good moves, the table has turned around.
And once again, you guys, these answers pretty much prove exactly why humans play chess, because as you can tell from their answers are the exact opposite of what anybody watching the game with a computer thought at home. So this sort of it says it all, you guys, that when you see what they're saying, it's like completely opposite. Ding thought he was better out of the opening. Of course, I thought that he was just a little bit worse here after G takes f6. Computer actually thinks it's already, I think, significantly worse, but it's very interesting that you see this is why humans play the game, because what you see with the evaluation bar is completely different from reality.
And I realized after he played f4, and then queen 7 quite strong, also queen g5 the best. After,
you know what else it says, by the way, because someone in chat said this and they're correct. They said this, by the way, I've said it many times and a lot of people assume that I'm just like praising Magnus for no good reason, but this is the difference between Magnus and everybody else, which is ultimately when there's a lot of pressure and the situations are chaotic and you're playing these very big situations, Magnus is better at staying objective about the position and not sort of letting the emotions, letting everything take over to where he miscalculates and he misevaluates what's going on. I mean, very specifically, like you see Ding, he's basically thinking that he was just better here. He's thinking that up until f4, up until basically this position, that he was better, when in fact he was already significantly worse. And it shows that both players are losing their objectivity. It's because Magnus is a robot, maybe, but for some reason, usually, well, that's just because Magnus is the best. I mean, that's just the reality, and it really shows here because you see, like, there are two big misassessments. Ding thought he was better here when he was actually already much worse. And Nepo thought that rook c8 was actually the best move instead of what he did in the game, which was actually the correct way of playing it. So you see two huge misassessments from both players where they're maybe not a little bit, but they're way too overly optimistic. Can you see the evaluation bar? Sure. So yeah, if you want the evaluation bar, I'll put the bar here. You guys can see the bar. So you'll see that, like here, for example, d takes c4 was the correct move. Nepo thought rook c8 and bishop b8 was probably good, but after queen b3, it's, I guess, zeros technically according to the computer, but white has a lot of counterplay, whereas Nepo was saying he didn't think white had any counterplay whatsoever, and we're getting a bunch of spam. That's lovely. So yeah, this is what he thought. Oh my gosh, what is with all this spam? Jesus, mods, get rid of that stuff. Anyway, as I was saying, and then so Ding on the other hand thought he was much better, and he wasn't. So Just goes to show. Let's keep watching.
That I thought I was nearly lost, so I have to complicate the waters by playing c4, queen c3.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Эльмира Мирзоева, телеканал Матч ТВ. Вопрос к Яну непомнящему. Ян, вообще в целом вы были довольны тем, как сложился для вас именно дебют, вот этот маневр слон d7, слон g4, вы перед этим думали, вспоминали, то есть это то, что называется, играли по книге?
Jan, the question is to you. My name is Elmira Mirzoeva from Match TV channel. Jan, were you glad with your moves? Bishop d7 and then bishop g4.
Ah, good question.
So
Yes.
did you play by the book?
Yeah, he played this and then bishop
Yeah, I
g4.
guess, да, я полагаю, что...
Jan, please answer in Russian and we will translate. Yes.
Да, вроде бы...
Well, I mean, why does he have to answer in Russian? What the heck? Seriously? That's so weird.
Готовки, по крайней мере, итогами дебюта я был доволен.
It was part of my preparation, and by the results of the debut, I was happy with.
Right. Next question.
And I have a question to Dean. Dean, were you surprised with bishop d7, bishop g4, all this maneuver? Have you seen it before?
I'm quite happy to see bishop d7 come over the board when I was sitting in the rest room, because maybe he's worried about bishop b5 if he played knight c6, but actually knight c6 was the best move
Right.
according to my analysis. So
Yeah.
it means he's a tempo down comparing to...
Yeah, he basically lost a tempo with this because then he goes here, so he wasted a move.
Thank you. Do we have a next question?
Hello, Maria Milyanova, chess.com. I have a question for Ding. On the move 12, when you took on f6, you spent half an hour thinking on that move. Coincidentally, it's also move 12 in the second game where you did not expect the capture on f6. Is there any psychology behind thinking for so long on that move, or is it completely irrelevant?
Well, I was choosing between bishop f6 and knight g3. On knight g3, I saw knight h5, h3, bishop takes, queen takes, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. And then maybe rook e3, but here maybe bishop d6 also works. So I have to choose between these two simply equal variations.
Yeah, knight to 3 or bishop
It's very hard
f6.
to decide which one is better. In the end, I think maybe I have to take the knight first.
Again, interesting what Ding is saying. Ding is saying that 2 equal variations when in fact what he played in the game with bishop f6 was already worse for him. So that's interesting to hear.
So you were just thinking about the lines. There's nothing psychological.
Yeah,
there.
but after he takes the pawn, it
Yeah.
reminds me a little bit
It did
of
remind you.
the games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have more questions in press? I would ask myself one question to Jan. If you were surprised by the opening choice of Ding when he played movie 3 call system, as it has a reputation that it's not so ambitious move.
No, I wasn't surprised.
You're prepared for it.
A little.
All right. Next question.
Hi, Aditya from ChessBase India. Question to Ding. When you went a4, if Nepo had gone for a6, what was your idea?
Yes, a4, a6, maybe take d5, e5, and rook a1.
Yeah,
Did you
so
see
he's
that
saying
on the board? What was that?
a6 takes d5, e5, rook a1.
No.
This line.
Already in the middle.
He's
game,
talking about this
totally
a4,
lost.
a6.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, is that it? That's all we have for the press conference? Really? That's all? Okay. Fair enough. It's only about 10 minutes long. Surprising. So yeah, so that's what they were talking about. All right. So there wasn't a whole lot there. There's Twitter too. Oh, did I find the wrong one? GameTel press conference World Chess Championship. It was way longer. Oh, maybe there's more. Let me pull it up. That's only 10 minutes. Maybe I just pull it up here. Pull it up.
Oh man, it's like the whole
Very.
4, вы перед этим думали,
Thank you. Do we have more questions in press? I would ask myself.
Let me see.
I would like to conclude today's press conference. Tomorrow, the round 30.
No, there's nothing more. No, there's nothing more. That's it. That's all there was, you guys. So yeah, it wasn't a very long press conference. I mean, obviously Nepo not very happy. But Yeah, it's what it is. It's brutal. It's brutal. They cut some in the broadcast. It was more. Okay, fair enough. No Twitter questions, but it was Matt. Okay.